everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Dog Talk. I'm your host, Michael J. Solers, and I have to say, as we start off every episode with a little bit of gratitude, so thank you guys for liking, loving, sharing, giving us a thumbs up on YouTube, and continue to spread the word out there as we build the industry here on dog training and the pet industry, bringing in the experts and all the people that have the knowledge and the know-how to get the things that you're looking for. Tonight episode is really exciting. This is a friend of mine from a few years ago. We met back. If you saw the episode with Chrissy Joy, this is actually the person that put together the event where I got to meet Chrissy Joy. So this is a neat little, let's say, flashback of the past, how these people are all coming back full circle. And from that event, the lovely young lady that's going to be on the show tonight wound up going on her own mission, which is pretty cool because the name of her company now is Mission Pet Supplies. So this is an amazing thing to see how we all grow as we talk about success and going forward and moving in our lives, and how this person was able to put on a huge fundraising event and didn't stop there, but then decided to start a company on her own, go out there, and as it continues to grow, she even opened up a second company doing custom healthy dog treats. But instead of me rambling on and going through all that kind of stuff, let me introduce you guys to Crystal Eater of Mission Pet Supplies and Be Loyal Pet Treats. Hi, Crystal. Welcome to Dog Talk.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me. I so appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you for the great introduction too, Mike. That was fabulous.
It's the plug with the drums. I'm telling you, he does it every time to get everybody rocking and rolling and getting these things going. So, Crystal, we've been friends now for quite some time. We met a long time ago when you held a nonprofit event that really brought a huge amount of people together. It was one of those neat things that you and your family did, and it's really neat to, I know I'm mumbling and stumbling here, but it was thinking about just how we got to meet each other. We stumbled upon each other. You had something that was near and dear, where you were fundraising for veterans, animal community together. And from there, you built such a community that now you are a local pet store that you named Mission Pet Supplies, which is sort of very, now that I even say it the way I say it, which is even neater, right? Pretty cool how you've combined, the passion of supporting our veterans as well as the pets and bringing them together with Mission Pet Supplies. And you are getting ready to open your first order now. This is exciting, ain't it?
Yeah.
So you almost suddenly look nervous now.
I know. It's been quite a journey, and I didn't ever anticipate that this was going to happen. And we thought, honestly, that we were just going to stay online the whole time. So missionpetsupplies.com was established back in 2018. And then we just, this is who I am. I love the one-on-one connection with people. On our website, on missionpetsupplies.com, we're now offering one-on-one meetings with me, hour-long sessions that they can do, nutrition consultations and those kind of things. But
it's a good point you brought that up, because if you didn't say the pet nutrition part, which I was waiting how long to figure out where you're going to say, hey, I'm also a nutritionist. The one-on-one consults with you just wasn't adding into the pet store. So I was, where is she going with this one-on-one? I want to talk to Crystal one-on-one. You happily read a one-on-one consult and talk to her anytime you want. So you originally started your career off as a pet nutritionist, and that's where it seemed like it really bloomed. To bring in those things. So that's what you're adding with the one-on-one consults, is the pet nutrition. So is it, I guess all foods aren't created equal then?
So really, actually, I was the vice president of a pet food for 10 years. And I learned a lot through that. And I learned from some of the leading experts in nutrition in general, as well as just better quality of ingredients, the way that products are manufactured, the kitchen that it's in. It's a full package. So, any label can read identically, but it's how it's made that really makes a difference in how the dog's bioavailability and the way that they intake the nutrients. And all that is what I learned while I was the vice president of this pet food company. And it really took me into realizing that we then needed to start this dog treat, Be Loyal Pet Company, which just emphasizes on just better ingredients in there. These are all human grade human products that's in it, and then slow cooking them to make sure that the nutrients are still intact. So, nutrition has just kind of, I just absolutely love it. And I think that the average person just doesn't do their own research. Who has time to do any of this? So Mission Pet Supplies was established to make sure that we can provide for our consumers products that are better for your pet, better for the environment by doing eco-friendly packaging, or Shameless Pets is one of our products that offers upcycled
Hold
ingredients.
on. Easy, girl. Easy. So let's a notch here. We got a lot of people listening different ways, right? So we got to keep them absorb a little bit of the info. So real quick, Mission Pet Supplies, currently available percent online, missionpetsupplies.com. They can order everything that they're looking for their pet. And if they're curious about information, they can go ahead and request a one-on-one consult with you. And this way, because what I'm gathering now, a speaker too. So I'll grab the intel really quick. So what I'm gathering from you is that there is a ton of information in pet nutrition that a lot of people are missing. Is that an accurate statement, what you're trying to
Absolutely.
Okay. So now we got, now the big question comes down to is how you're putting it together to solve that problem is the one-on-one consults, the interior. And then you made your custom treat now, which is the Be Loyal brand, right? And you've figured out those loopholes. But with Mission Pet Supplies, I want to circle back to that one real quick for a while, is that, there's all different types of brands of food out there, and there's a lot of misinformation, as you stated. What are some of the things that people could be looking for, if they're not in your area or unable to get a hold of you? What are some of the things that, what are the top two things that people hear that are really misfed information in reference to pet food?
I think one of the leading issues is, just things to acknowledge, is to flip a bag over and read the ingredient panel. If you can't understand the ingredient, it's probably not supposed to be there, and it's not going to be good for your pet. And the top 5 ingredients on an ingredient panel is the heaviest weight of what's in the food. So like 75% of what's in the food. So if you flip it over and you don't have like a protein as one of your like number 1, number 2 ingredients, then it's something that isn't the best for your dog. And that also probably coincides with a lower price point as well. So you get what you pay for.
Yeah. So that was always a big trick, right? Like if you're getting way more weight for the money, it's probably filled with more preservatives than it is nutrition, right?
Right.
It's probably not the rule of thumb, but it's definitely something I've always looked at. Is that one of those things where we're not going to name brands, but if you're getting a huge amount of food for a very, very low price, you're probably getting a lot of preservatives, and you're going to overfeed your
fillers.
dog. Yeah,
and
tons
fillers.
Of fillers, right?
Yes.
So the other thing that I always tend to point out, and I'm sure you do this with your clients as well, but is where we discuss the fact that a healthy diet is going to be better for the dog, mental, physical, health-wise, lowers vet visits, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of benefits to working with a nutritionist like yourself that really gets people together to understand that there's more to, having a pet than just giving your dog a food, right? Like, how many times do they really talk about it? I mean, we as people probably should see nutritionists often. I know for me and my hot wings, that's probably not the steady diet, but that's what I eat. I eat a lot of it. I mean, most people probably wouldn't use hot sauce as a dipping sauce, but hey, cleans you right out. So it's well.
I mean, you got to do it. It's good. It's good for the stomach.
It's all about the flavor.
It can go on anything.
Yeah.
But that's what's cool, right? Because we as humans, we can make our own decisions about what goes in our bodies. Our pets don't. So we have to make those decisions for them. And just like a baby, you try to do the very best that you can. So that's where I step in. We try to make sure that we find the best food for your pet's specific needs. There's not a one-all for everybody. And then we kind of try to figure out, should they be on raw or grain-free or gluten-free? Is there an allergy? Is the allergy environmental, or is it actually food-based? And the average dog actually has an environmental allergy. It's not usually food-based. So we kind of figure out where the actual allergy is lying, and then we figure out where to place them.
Now, do you help track your clients' dietary issues with their pets and things like that with your company? Or is it something, where if they're working with you, you track it to make sure they're on the proper food and adjusting if necessary?
Yeah, so we frequently check in with our customers, especially our problem cases, not the human, but the dog. When there's problem issues, we constantly, because I mean, once you start to resolve a problem, it usually isn't something that will maintain. You still have to keep adjusting. So you might start in one spot, and then 2 months down the road, we have to then adjust it to something else because now their pH in their body's changing, the way that their body's metabolizing it is different, or we resolved this issue, but now this has now presented itself because it was kind of squashed down because this problem was so heavy. So yes, we're constantly checking in on those customers and making sure that their pets who are family are very well taken care of.
Gotcha. So when it comes into, recently you are going from the online to the brick and mortar, but one of the neat things that you were out there doing is that you had flat rate shipping for all local, right? Is that still going
We
on right
have,
now?
yeah, so Monday to Friday, we have flat rate, $2.95, flat rate shipping up to $99. And then it's completely free for either delivery or shipping after $99.
And that's a great way to compete with the bigger companies because you guys are a local based business, truly ingrained into the neighborhoods, and that's where you're opening up your new brick and mortar. Is that right up in Whiteford in Hartford County, Maryland?
Yes.
Which is your opening is, I believe, Halloween. Is that right?
So our grand opening actually is the 30th. We have a Halloween party up here, and it is super cool. Like coming out, you walk outside, and there's just dogs echoing, like the barking is everywhere. I just can't wait for the community to be able to come in here. And there's a chocolate lab that apparently lives 2 doors down that has come to this door every time we're in here. And I mean, Tail is going, and he's trying to jump in, and there's dogs that are passing through here that can smell the food from outside, apparently. Like the anticipation is so exciting. So we're going to do a soft opening October 19th, and then we have a ribbon cutting ceremony, which I'm so excited for. And that's going to be at 2 o'clock on October 29th. And then the next day is going to be our grand opening and Halloween party on October 30th.
That's awesome. So now you
It's so
also,
exciting.
yeah, then so now you have your online store, and the online store is going to continue growing and being
Absolutely.
a part of it. So that's not going away. It's not being replaced. So ladies and gentlemen, you don't, if you can't make it to Whiteford, the availability is still there at missionpetsupplies.com. So you can do everything virtual, pet nutrition through Zooms. It sounds like it's a really good thing that way. Great shipping deals that you have, and now with the brick and mortar, you're inviting the neighborhood in to really build in the community, which is really nice. Like we could see all this stuff above your shoulders there. And the ones listening, you can't see it, but there is a ton of dog stuff all over the place, merchandising, and her new brand of dog treats of Be Loyal. So now, yeah, Be Loyal. That from I was seeing on your Facebook, it sounded like it's something that started as more of a sidebar hobby. I'm assuming. Tell us the story. What made you, I guess, become a baker?
Well, because I was the vice president of a pet food, it's always been a passion of mine to be able to do something that we could make here locally. And there isn't anything, even in Maryland, to my knowledge, that is a superfood based pet treat that provides the extra nutrition that dogs need. So the average person is feeding kibble, which is great. I mean, it's still depending on what you're feeding. You're doing the best that you can. But just like humans, we need multivitamins. We need a supplement to give us all just a full, well-rounded vitamin base. So that's what this does. There's superfood ingredients that's in it that provides additional digestion support, helps to build the immunity within the dog. We use local honey from Paradise Honey, which is harvested right in Aberdeen, Maryland. And that honey is really helpful for like dogs with skin allergies, for environmental allergies. If the dog is local, at least, because building up that immunity to local allergens, that honey will be super effective for that. So the product itself has just been absolutely fantastic. It's been selling like hotcakes, and I mean, we kind of created the treat because I have the background, but it was just there was a need for it, and
So
we
was
wanted
it
to.
was it just a sidebar to see what skill set you could put together, or was it more of you see the need, fill the need? It sounds like it's more of a sidebar project that you're just that you found an opening in your calendar and just had to start baking some treats.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that what it was?
something like that. Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah, it was actually there's a personal reason behind it as well, because my husband was unfortunately in a very serious car accident back in September of 2020. And so I don't think that he's still getting taken care of, but I'm not sure that he's going to be able to go back to his profession, and he's still getting treated. So this treat company was actually formulated so that when he was capable of getting himself back on track and he was cleared for treatment, that he was going to have his own purpose, so that, you know, he had something to work towards. So I created it because I had the background, but this is hopefully going to be his baby, and then Mission is going to be mine, and so we can do things together.
Well, that's awesome. A little family of entrepreneurs growing together, right? You can't go wrong there. Similar industry, so you continue to grow into those aspects. Now you have a couple of different bags over your shoulder there.
Yeah.
I'm assuming there's different flavors. So
there are. We have two different flavors right now. We have the cranberry and kale, which is also good for urinary tract infections, and then the super greens formulas. Both of these guys are good for digestion and immunity. And then we're going to be coming out with another flavor probably in the springtime. We have 6 that we're planning on bringing out, but these two are only guys right now. And then the plan is also to come out with blended flavors. So 2 treats in one bag. And those are going to be super, super fun too.
Okay. Now, are these, I don't know, we're not going to ask you to open a bag, but are they treats? Are they training size treats? Where would you put them in a size frame?
So they're a soft baked treat, and they do have, you could definitely break this up. We can open one up.
No, you don't need to worry about that too
We're
much.
going to open it up.
We have a lot of podcast people. It's going to be more about your description.
It's done. It's opening. It's opening, Mike. We're going to show you this treat right now. I should have been better prepared for that. We're going to show you. So this is the super greens treat. So it's about 1.5 inches, and it's soft. It's very easy to break up, but it's large enough that a large dog would be totally fine with it. This was fun though, because we started this actually in a mold, and then we realized molds are not going to work very well. So this is a cookie cutter. So these are all handmade actually right now. And so it's been a really fun project. And then they also have apple cider vinegar in them, which is very hard apple cider vinegar is not the most pleasant flavor, but we have actually been able to kind of mask it with some of the other ingredients like peppermint oil. And all of it is just really good for like natural, just digestive support.
It sounds like it's going to keep the dogs where they need to be. I mean, we had a gentleman a couple of episodes ago. We talked keto diets versus, the heavy carbs and how it impacts the dogs very, very bad. So it sounds like you have lined up a treat that's really a good accent point to a dog's diet, which is fantastic to think about how you guys are here locally in Harford County, teaming up with as a family to create 2 different brands that are really going into helping the dogs. Now you still do local events where people can grab your treats. I saw that a couple of times that you were at some local events. Is there any local events that you're planning to have the treats set up at?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah, we'll probably be more up here at this point now. And I mean, we will be bringing in, obviously we have a store now, but we still plan on going out to some local events, even through Pennsylvania at times. As the company grows, we'll definitely be out there for sure. One of us will be at least, but it's me solo right now while he's still being taken care of. So there's only so much you can do.
I get it. I do. It's always a part of business, right? It's the ups, the downs, the lefts, the rights. It's a constant battle of curving and moving things around. And what's really nice when you focus in on, the pet, putting them in the focus point, which is all the key here, right? It's looking at the nutritional aspect, and you're not far off with the treat. And I see you got a bunch of different toys. You also have, now you service all animals, not just dogs, right? With Mission Pet Supplies.
Yes, so we tackled everything. So we have dog, cat, small animal, reptile, fish products, and even outdoor and organic gardening that's safe for pets.
Do you have access to big fish tanks? I'm actually looking to upgrade.
I could definitely find one. It's not going to be in here, but I will find you one. Yeah, okay. Upgrade? What are you trying to upgrade to?
I want at least a 220-gallon tank. Yeah, upgrade. I like going big,
I mean, yeah, go big or go home, I guess.
Well, that's it. The fish need space. I'm a big guy. They need big space too. I respect them. Respect
You need a 3X tank. I understand.
that's it. I don't want to limit my fish's choice in food. If he wants to eat good food, he can eat good food. Let him enjoy his life, as they say. But it's not always the thing.
You
right?
still have one fish. You have one fish that you're
No,
putting
I
it
have a
in.
lot of fish. No, I have a lot. We breed plecos and guppies and
Okay.
minnows and stuff, and they are just so they're coming in from outdoor. So my fish in the summertime live outdoors. They enjoy the spring and the sun air. They live off the bugs in the sun, and it saves a lot of money because they you don't have
That's
to feed them.
awesome.
Yeah, they eat natural. But in the wintertime, our temperatures
Nice.
drop, and I got to bring them back into fish tanks. But we have a lot more babies, and they need place. And I like my fish being happy and having room to swim. So they need a bigger home. Yeah.
Well,
I
they
don't know why.
probably are more active when they are healthy and happy too.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they're great. I mean, they in the summertime they live in flower pots, so it's good. They do big flower pots, not little ones. Big flower pots. Yeah.
Not like the little 2
No,
gallon fish.
no. It's not like it's a big fish. Some people you see these things and you would think there'd be trees in them, and then you walk over to them and you see a bunch of fish. You're like, what the hell? You're like, yeah. It's what you do. It's what we do. Yeah. So yeah, doing this all together and let's bring this back into your stuff now. I don't think anybody really cares that I have fish in a flower pot outdoors.
Unless they want fish, and then that's really important to them.
Yeah.
It's all about perspective.
Yeah, so I mean that's big things, getting all this stuff. So again, if it was nice, ladies and gentlemen, is if you're into other things besides your dog, they have cat stuff, they have fish stuff, bird stuff, reptile stuff, stuff that I probably wouldn't even want to touch. Next thing you know, we're going to be carrying horse stuff in there, right? Because you're in Whiteford, so you're definitely going to have to get some horse treats and sugar licks, right?
We do have actually a few where we've tackled somewhat into the horse side. I mean, that's a whole different ball game, but we've definitely started tackling into that. We even have super worms for reptiles, live super worms. And then this space is super cool. We have 2 bay windows, and one of them we are featuring one of our local rescues. And so we're going to have adoptable kittens in the window all the time. And right now, they are Fairy Tales Rescue that's going to have their kittens up there. So I can't wait to have kittens in this store all the time. So that'll be super fun too.
That's pretty good. So on your opening and are you partnered with them? Is there going to be is that going to be a main location for adoption where people can come, I guess, meet the cat, be able to apply for adoption there?
Yep. So we have them, and then we are going to be partnering with a few other rescues, House of Hope and some of the other ones, but they're all doing amazing work. So we want to open up the doors and allow them to have that opportunity to also have a space, because all of them are ran by fosters, and especially right now with COVID, a lot of times they don't want strangers in their homes. So this is a safe place that they can come to and do their adoptions here. We will be having adopt-a-thons throughout the month as well, but Fairy Tale will be bringing in adoptable dogs and other animals besides just the kittens the last Saturday of every month. And then we're trying to work it out now where we have the other rescues kind of coming in throughout the other Saturdays or Tuesday nights, or just some other fun events that they can try to find homes for those animals as well. And then we are offering 5% off to all adopters of any of those rescues and fosters that volunteer for them.
That's great. So giving back once again is your MO apparently. So you want to keep doing these things, bringing people in together. I love hearing how you're teaming up with these rescues, giving them and providing them something that they're really lacking on, which is the opportunity for people to meet in a position where we got to keep ourselves safe and things like that. I'm going to stay away from the political climax of it, but let's get into a big question here. So what was the biggest challenge you faced getting into the pet industry?
Well, you mean after I was no longer with
No, I'm talking about getting started. So you said you were the president of a pet food company. That was the intro.
Vice president.
Okay. So the question really comes down to is, what was the challenge? So there's a lot of people out there that are they're trying to figure out the first step in getting into it. Now, here you are, you're a pet food, pet treat creator. So you're a baker, you're an entrepreneur there. You have the pet supply, you're a nutritionist, you worked with the pet foods, but that was the niche that you found in the industry. As you know, I'm a trainer. That's my niche in the industry. I'm not, I never will claim that anything about food, as because you can easily look at me and realize that I'm not the guy that you want to take food advice from. Because if it just tastes good, you eat more of it. This is the way the world works.
Hot sauce.
Yeah, just throw some hot sauce on it, go down nice and well, and it comes out just as easy. So it's good to go that way. But looking at it, what was one of the challenges that, if I'm looking brand new and I'm interested in becoming a nutritionist or interested in working out, what was the challenge you faced getting to where you are today? What was the challenge that you had to face to get in there?
Well, I would say as far as Mission Pet Supplies goes, it was, I would say the biggest challenge that I had to go through was education for consumers, because I don't think that the average pet owner even even thinks, they don't have a clue that there's more to it than just what they're used to from growing up. They just don't even know. So if you don't know, how are you supposed to look? So just the educational component and trying to have that fine line between like what they actually want to know compared to like they really don't care. They just want to be
Yeah.
told what to do.
Yeah,
And
that's actually
either way.
that's actually a good point you brought up there. Like you're saying, like being told, right? So, as a trainer, and I love educational aspects of the training. I love talking about the Clever Hans effect. I love talking about, Pavlov and Dr. Skinner. I love all that kind of stuff. To me,
Yeah.
understanding the hows, the whys, the scientific studies, the hope experiments, all of these different things to me is absolutely like fascinating, because it's not just as simple as you hold a treat above the dog's head and it sits. It's so much more intricate. Like I love pointing out to people how their dog studies them for 24 hours a day to figure out how to manipulate us to get them to work for them. And everyone's like, no, I have control of my dog. And I'm like, that's why every time your dog sits, you give him a biscuit. You think you're controlling your dog. Your dog sits, you give them what they want, which means your dog's cue to you is I sit, you pay, right? So the dog's actually more in control, right?
Right.
And they're like, no, Mike, that's not true. And I'm like, actually, it is very true, because if you come downstairs in your pajamas, right, your dog doesn't care. Like they know you're home. But if you're dressed up or you touch your car keys or you touch your leash or you touch your shoes and your dog goes berserko, because your dog knows that you're leaving, which proves the point that your dog is studying your habits more than you're studying your dog's, right? So like, I love that kind of stuff, because it's like, man, there's a phrase that I use all the time, and I'm going to wonder this, and maybe we should ask the family this at a different time and find out what is a famous phrase by Crystal Eater, because I know one of mine is, you must be consistently inconsistent to create consistency in your dog. So that's right. That's a little bit of a tongue twister, but it's actually 100% accurate. So you must be consistently inconsistent in all your behaviors, right? To create consistency in your dog, which means your dog can't predict you, which means the dog has to actually pay attention to what you're talking to him about.
Okay.
So that means they can't predict your behavior. So if I come down and I leave to go to work in my pajamas, that will throw the dog off, throw the family off too, but it'll throw everybody off, which means I'm being inconsistent. Now, if I do this randomly, which means I'm unpredictable, that means you have to watch and listen to what I want to figure it out. You can't guess, right? So when it comes into nutritional things, when it comes to working with people, I could see the dilemma. Like you said, now I know I just totally fried everyone's brain with all that, but it's like
that was really tough. I was proud.
You're still there. Yeah.
I followed though. It was cool.
Yeah. So you're sitting there with, do people really want to know, or do they just want to be told what dog food to buy? And it's a great question of curiosity, because is it that we're so habitual in the fact that we watched the commercial and we were told that this is a great food because it's holistic, or they use magic words. And then the truth be told is we look at people, and when they come out looking for the knowledge, I've always found people are really intrigued with the knowledge. But at the same point in time, we as I would have to say the educators, right? The leading resources of the industry, we're not providing it properly. We are almost holding it hostage and using terms to not allow people the insight, right? And being a nutritionist and offering, like you said earlier, if you flip over the bag, right, and read the ingredients,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't know what those words mean, then it's probably not good for you, right? Well, I always point out another thing, which is don't take people's advice on how many cups of food your dog should eat. There's also another thing on a bag that tells them how much of that food the dog is supposed to eat within a 24-hour. Because I hear clients come to me all the time and they're like, "Yeah, I feed them like 6 cups a day," and I'm like, "Was that what the bag says?" And they're like, "Well, why would the bag say that?" "No, it's what this person said." I'm like, "Well, you
Yeah,
got to
but back
balance
in the
that."
day, I mean, back in the 70s when pet food, I mean, Iams was one of the first groundbreaking dog foods that were started in the industry, and their focus was trying to pull out byproducts out of there. And so, I mean, back then, though, it was 6 cups a day. So, like, as people, as human beings, we just kind of mimic what we've done, what we've learned throughout our whole lives. So they're just used to, they just go to the grocery store, pick up a bag of food, and then it's 6 cups. You have to have 6 cups of food that's just not that great compared to if you provided food that maybe was double the bag, might be double the price, but you feed half of it and you're giving the nutrition that the dog actually needs to sustain in life and provide them longevity. I mean, why wouldn't you want to give your dog a longer lifespan? That's what you get when you're giving better stuff.
Well, yeah, that's what we want to put together, right? So, like you just said, the mimicking point of the psychology where the brain is saying, "Well, this is what we've been doing for years. Why would we change it?"
Yeah.
Well, the education that you're providing now, do you provide any open house educations where people can come and just learn about the different types of food, or is that maybe something you might do in the future?
We're definitely going to do that here. Yeah, it was going to be one of the nights we'll just talk about one of the brands and just hone in on it and just give um, more in-depth knowledge. But again, most people, when I've done these in the past, when I used to work for the pet food, they would sit there and like zone out, and then by the end of it, they'd come up and say, "Hi, my dog has skin problems. So which bag is the right one for my dog?" I mean, it's just like a veterinarian. You go to the vet, you pay a fortune just to be able to be told XYZ, and then you do it, not even thinking twice about it because you trust your veterinarian. That's what we do here. We want our customers to be able to rely on us and trust us that we are doing the absolute best for their pet's nutrition, and that's where we step in.
Yeah. Well, you're also, I mean, you're still educating them, right? Like you just said, like you are providing the education. Now,
If
if
they
they
want it.
elect not to listen,
That's
you,
right.
then you just tell them, right? Like it's the second
And we
one
can
to
go
the
either
right.
way.
Yeah, it's the second one to the right. Yeah, it's no big deal. I know for me, like I said, I'm really interested in the aspect of it because I don't believe all brands are created equal. I do believe
Absolutely.
everything has a something of a difference. And let me know your opinion on this. But one of the things that I always tell people, because they come to me and I tell them flat out, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor. I don't really know the answer to the question, but I normally tell them is that, look, I could tell you about my stomach, and I could tell you that if you told me that here's a diet for me that is really, really good because this is what the nutritional value is, then I will tell you that if I eat that, I'm going to get sick. Where the other diet that you're going to tell me is completely bad for me, actually going to keep me healthy, right? And in dogs, I believe it's one of the same. Like there is not one brand of food just because the commercial
No.
said so or something like that. There's not one brand of food that you're gonna literally just start eat. Your dog's gonna start eating and be like the greatest thing in the world. The dog's stomach's gonna adjust. The dog might not like it. There could be some sort of makeup that's something wrong with it. Do you find that to be an accurate statement that the food itself could be like the dog's stomach could change the value no matter what really the brand of food is?
Oh, for sure. I mean, and then you're also talking that, in their age ranges, their pH in their bodies and how their bodies are metabolizing is different. So like when they turn 7 or 8, they could have been on the same food the rest of their lives, and then they turn 7 and all of a sudden they have a gigantic allergy. It's because their makeup of their bodies just require different nutrition. And that's not to say as soon as the dog is 7, every dog is different. So what we try to focus on is like their energy level. If the
Okay.
dog turns 7 or 8, that's technically a senior, especially for a large breed over like 50 pounds. But if the dog's energy level at that point has slowed down from when they were like 2, let's say, if you're talking completely different types of energy, at that point we need to lower the protein value. That's where
Okay.
we kind of start stepping back in because too much protein can cause renal failure. or renal issues, because the organs just can't handle that much protein. For a low active dog, if the dog is like a sporting dog or high training dog constantly, an athlete, then they require that higher protein and we wouldn't bring it down. Another one too is like rosemary. We've done a lot of research with veterinarians that are specifically focused on seizures.
Okay.
And rosemary is actually a trigger for seizures. And most dog foods have rosemary not listed on the ingredient panel. It's in the mixed tocopherols. Like it'll say an ingredient and then it'll say preserved with mixed tocopherols, and it's inside of there. So it's things like that. Like the average consumer doesn't know that or even has a clue. And we only figured that out because our Shih Tzu started having issues when she was 3,
Okay.
and we took her completely off of mixed tocopherols that had rosemary in it. Rosemary is a great preservative, but not for dogs that are prone to seizures. So
when it comes into with the dog food, what I'm picking up a little bit here is that you really can't be loyal just to a brand at times. Like you might have to mix it up. You might have to shock the stomach because ages, differentials, these things. The other thing that I caught in this is that the treats, right, that can create a problem and or an asset, right? So do you have to, or should people be more aware of the mixing of dog treats with the different types of food, or is that more of like, they might not get a lot, or maybe do a certain quantity of treats that creates a little bit more of a question mark?
So I would say if the dog has, and as far as an allergy goes, if the dog has a food allergy, then we first have to figure out where the allergy is coming from. So obviously if the dog, chicken is a huge allergy if the dog has a food allergy. So we would start doing elimination. So you would also have to factor in, obviously, that the treats could not have chicken in it. The same goes for grain-free or grain-based, and especially with what the FDA had released a couple years ago with the whole taurine issue and whether grain or grain-free is better. Neither one is better than the other. They both provide nutrition. It's just the breed of the dog or the makeup of the dog, and we have to figure out which one is better. So for me personally, I believe in rotating the proteins, and most of our foods have a rotational of the proteins that we can offer. In addition, that coincides with the treats too. So if your dog has absolutely no food allergies, I personally recommend doing grain or grain-free food, and then doing the opposite for the treats. That way you're getting a full nutrition, and then keep rotating the proteins. And that starts at puppyhood to make sure that their bodies aren't stuck. I mean, we don't eat the exact same thing every day, or sticking with one kibble and then adding on different cans, different, what?
I said, speak for yourself. I eat the same thing every day.
Yeah, hot sauce on your cereal? What?
Yeah. I love me some steadiness. I told you I'm inconsistently consistent, right? So yeah, it's just there's only a couple meals, that's it, and they just get rotated around. That way you can't predict it. That's the way it works.
I mean, that's
yeah.
Whether PJ is going to work and then changing in the car, I mean, whatever.
Yeah, it's just the way it works. It's just my stomach knows what it's gonna get. It's gonna get bacon and egg sandwich every morning. So it gets it. I got we like me some bacon. We're gonna call it a day. It's just why mess with something good? So
I mean,
I'm with my
dog. I
love
bacon. Are you eating the turkey bacon?
No.
No, of course not. Why would you do that?
It's fake. It's fake. The turkey deserves to live. It's one of those things. So getting back into it. So one of the things that I guess curiosity of obviously being a dog trainer, we use a lot of treats with reward-based training, and we find that sometimes heavy rewards can cause diarrhea, things like that. Do you think that could be caused just from the heavy treats, or could it be a mixture of the type of foods? Is there anything that could be preventative? Is there anything that we should look for when certain brands shouldn't be mixed? Is there any type of thing like that? Or is it always breaking down to reading the dog's stomach and the ingredient levels to see what's going on?
I think it's breaking it down to what the dog does well with, but as well as you might be overfeeding. Like, for example, if somebody came to your training session and the next day all of a sudden they have loose stool, it wasn't necessarily because the dog treat itself was of poor quality or the dog didn't do well on it, But when you're like treating, if you gave like 25 treats in an hour, then you need to cut back on how much dog food that the dog consumes, because now it's just too much for their stomach to handle, and it inevitably ends up with diarrhea. It
Yeah,
wasn't the treat though.
and that's a big point. We with reward based dog training, it's a very difficult thing because we're using a lot of, and a lot of trainers recommend using the kibble over treats. Obviously,
Yeah.
that way you have control of what their intake is, you have control of the diet, you know what the points of things. But when it comes into the treats, we always want to have a high value. Some trainers, hot dogs. I know when I get a lot of stubborn streaks, I like to get into the spam because it's just stank. Dogs love that odor. It's what it is.
Pieces of bacon.
No, we don't share the bacon. No, it's spam. It's spam. Canned spam, right? They get the
Classic.
wiener things and whatever they are. I know I won't eat them, but the dogs love them. Dogs love it. And as a trainer, what I like about it, to be honest, which I have no idea what this would have an effect on them in the sense of his stomach. Now we're talking nutrition, but I like them is because I actually don't have to give the dog a whole lot of it because my hand stinks like it. So they keep licking my hand. They think they got it. They got more, but they actually didn't. They actually didn't get any.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah, you got to outdo it, right? They can't predict
It's
me. It's
inconsistent. It's consistently inconsistent.
It's
There's
right.
no treat here.
There's no treat there, but your brain says there is. Yeah, see? Because the dog's going to go off their nose, right? So we look at that kind of stuff and we put it together. And again, it's a way of lowering their calorie point, right? They're not getting the spam. But we as humans, a lot of people tend to give their dogs food off their plates. Obviously, I mean, hey, we didn't eat this for dinner. Here's your snack. Here's this. Here's a little bit. In your professional opinion, where do you feel that falls into? We're not going to get into the training aspect of it. We're just curiosity of like giving your dog something cooked. Do you feel like if it's once in a blue moon, it's really not going to have an effect, or do you feel like that could have a major issue since, we add so much stuff to our food, salts, peppers, spices?
I mean, there's some like herbs and ingredients that we put on the food, like garlic and onions, that can be toxic, but I mean, only at extreme cases. So, I mean, unless you're like really heavily, which I mean, I definitely know some friends that are like, oh my gosh, I had garlic today. Like those kind of situations, you don't want to give that to your dog. But I think doing just natural, like if you prefer to give them food, which is great. I mean, they should have fresh food too. So if you want to do chicken, then maybe cook them a small piece of chicken and then put it to the side and then put on the rest of your ingredients on it, just to make sure that you're not doing anything harmful to the dog, unless it's just really mildly flavored on there. I don't see it being a problem. I would not recommend pizza, and I would not recommend buffalo chicken either.
Liars.
It's not
No.
good.
So, all right. So the next big one that comes out is the chocolate issue, right? So
chocolate.
Everybody says you can't give a dog chocolate, right? Now, I went to a veterinarian one time and they had a chocolate meter, and I thought it was like the coolest thing in the world. So they have this like paper disc thing that they move around to determine how bad or what could happen, or whatever, with the dog. So if it eats, a couple of Hershey Kisses versus a Reese's peanut butter cup versus
that's
thing
cool.
like that, and it talks about how bad it can get, and it was crazy to think about. I was like, man, I think and I even had on there where I forgot how it was like dark chocolate, whatever. And it had like a pound, like it was like a huge amount. And I'm thinking in my head going, I think if I even consumed that, I think I'd be on the floor messed up. So, but I know Halloween's coming. Candy's going to be out, and the dogs are going to grab it. Is there anything that, people should be highly aware of? Is there anything out there that, hey, I mean, obviously you don't want your dog having chocolate. It's really not that good for him, but where does this fall into that? Is it something that literally detrimental? Is it something they should seek medical care right away? Or is it something that, a Reese's peanut butter cup isn't going to, kill him? It's going to give him diarrhea. Or do you not know? It's a good question. I'm just curious now because
I would say at that point, it's funny story, not funny story, actually, interesting story. This past weekend, actually, my grandmother had came over to my mom and dad's house, and they have two puppies, and the boxer puppy was had gone into my grandmother's purse, who had she had two different bottles. One of them had blood pressure medication in it, and the other one had baby aspirin. And the dog had consumed 4 of each of the pills. And my mother called me and she's like, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I am not a veterinarian. Like, I love that you think I know that, but I don't. And so she actually, the best recommendation I would say, if the dog has something like that or chocolate and an over excessive amount, I would say call a poison. There's a poison hotline specifically for animals. Easily Google it, and then they can let you know whether it's a very serious situation where you need to take them to the emergency hospital or not.
Yeah.
And then I would definitely make sure that you are aware, though, how much that they consume, because that's gonna be a question that they ask.
So
But
really keep the candy to myself. See, now we have agreed that
eat it all.
I should eat it all when Halloween's over. So when all the candy's collected, ladies and
You need
gentlemen,
to
if you
hide
guys
it.
have
It's
candy that
still.
you need to get consumed, you can send it to me. I'll gladly take care of it, especially Reese's peanut butter cups. So just to let you guys know, if you have any problem consuming your Reese's peanut butter cups,
Reese's.
you do not have to worry about your dogs consuming it. I will gladly take care of it. So there we go. We have it
I'm a
all.
big fan of almond joy. I just little nut is specialty. Like, where is it in the chocolate?
I'm going to keep my comments. So there we go. So when we go into these things, we're going to get ready to close up the show here. And I just want to let everybody know, Crystal Eater is the owner of Mission Pet Supplies and Be Loyal Pet Treats. These are 2 companies. One, Mission Pet Supplies started in 2018, where she is online at missionpetsupplies.com and is getting ready to open up her brick and mortar location. This soft opening October 19th in Whiteford, which is what was the physical address again? Was it 13?
It's 1632 Main Street. So close.
Samsonite.
So
1632
close.
Main Street in Whiteford, Maryland, right there on the Pennsylvania line. So if you guys want to come out, enjoy it. It's going to be a soft opening on the 19th, ribbon cutting on the 29th, followed by
2:00.
the costume party and pet party on the 30th.
The grand opening,
Halloween.
October
Grand
30th.
opening. Yep. So this is really exciting. So an online store to be gravitating to a brick and mortar is really cool, because it really goes to show how much support that we are giving to local businesses, local owners, as we continue to grow through a real pandemic of a time where a lot of businesses are struggling. So it's really cool to see the community coming together, support each other, and especially when there's owners that are giving back. They're giving back with their education, creating a special treat for your dog's dietary needs, as well as their wants and desires. Like my bacon craving, she's got that covered for the dogs. So it's really, really cool. So Crystal, I really want to thank you for being a part of our show. It was fantastic having you, and we can't wait to have you back on. Maybe we'll be able to sooner or later get to your show and do a live one. Actually, no, wait, that I am doing that. Holy crud. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why I had such a brain fart. We are actually going to be filming Hartford Lifestyles. Awesome little thing that you guys can check out on Instagram, Hartford Lifestyles on Instagram, where I'm a little bit of a host, where we go around the local businesses here in Hartford County and give you a sneak peek with little things that are going on, little interviews. So if you guys are interested in seeing more before the grand opening, check out Hartford Lifestyles, because we will be over there filming Thursday at 10 a.m. So if you guys are around and you want to sneak into her store while she's there, it'll be Thursday at 10 a.m. We'll be there filming. So just you guys, so you can check it out. Those are different things. Crystal, thank you so much for being a part of our show, and we look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing you on Thursday, and hope everybody gets to enjoy your grand opening at the end of the month. So thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me for another episode of Stuck in a Truck 845 on your favorite channel at BLK9 TV. If you guys are looking for anything, please like, love, share, and send out to your friends, because I know they're looking for the information. So don't be selfish. Keep on sharing. Get it out there, guys. All right. We'll see everybody next week. Bye.